Most people think they're broke because they don't make enough money. They blame their salary, the economy, their background, or even bad luck. But here's the uncomfortable truth. If income was the real problem, then everyone making six figures would be rich. They're not. There are people making $2,000 a month building wealth quietly, and there are people making $20,000 a month living paycheck to paycheck. Same world, same opportunities, completely different results. So what's actually going on? The answer is simple, but hard to accept. People don't stay poor because of money. They stay poor because of a loop, a psychological loop that controls how they think, how they act, and how they make decisions. And the worst part is that most people don't even realize they're stuck in it. It starts with survival mode. When money's tight, your brain stops thinking about the future and becomes obsessed with the present, paying bills, covering expenses, just getting through the month. That sounds responsible, but it's a trap. Because when your mind is focused on survival, it has no space to think about building anything. You're not designing a life, you're just reacting to it. Now here's where it gets interesting. Give $100 to two different people. One person thinks about how to multiply it, while the other thinks about how to use it wisely. Both feel smart, but one is thinking like a builder, while the other is thinking like a survivor. Over time, that difference becomes everything. But the real trap isn't just thinking, it's emotion. Most people don't spend money because they're careless. They spend money because it's the only time they feel in control. When you're stressed, you buy something. When you're bored, you order food. When you feel behind in life, you upgrade something. And for a moment, it feels good. You feel ahead, rewarded, like you're moving forward. But you're not. You're escaping. Your brain learns this pattern quickly. Every time life feels uncomfortable, it pushes you towards spending because that's the fastest way to feel better. That's how spending becomes emotional. And emotional spending is silent. It doesn't look dangerous at the moment, but over time, it slowly destroys your future. Now add an environment to this. If everyone around you is stuck, constantly complaining about money, avoiding risks, and living the same year over and over again, your brain starts to accept that as normal. You don't question it, you adapt to it. And here's the brutal truth. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your environment. Even if you try to think bigger, you'll hear things like, be realistic, don't aim too high, or people like us don't do that. And slowly, you shrink. Not because you can't grow, but because your environment makes growth feel wrong. At the same time, there's a knowledge gap most people ignore. Wealthy people don't just earn more, they understand money differently. They learn how to invest, how to build assets, and how to use money to create more money, while most people are stuck learning how to save, budget, and cut back. Saving feels safe, but it doesn't make you rich. It just delays being broke, because if your money isn't growing, it's losing value. And then comes the biggest enemy of all, instant gratification. Your brain is wired to choose what feels good now, not what's good later. Spending gives immediate dopamine, while investing gives nothing instantly. So, what does the average person choose? The thing that feels good today. Every single time. That's why people scroll instead of build, consume instead of create, and spend instead of invest. Not because they're stupid, but because they're human. But if you don't control this, it controls your entire life. Then there's the deepest layer, identity. At some point, people stop saying, I have money problems, and start saying, I'm just bad with money. That shift is dangerous because once something becomes your identity, you start acting according to it. You defend it. You stay stuck in it. And without realizing it, you build a life that matches that belief. Now here's the harsh reality. No one is coming to fix this for you. Not your job, not the economy, not luck. If you don't break this loop, you'll keep repeating the same patterns, the same struggles, and the same financial stress year after year, just with different numbers. So how do you get out? It starts with awareness. You need to catch yourself in the act. Why are you spending? What are you avoiding? What patterns keep repeating? Because you can't change what you don't notice. Then you change your inputs, what you watch, what you listen to, and who you follow, because your environment isn't just physical anymore, it's digital. And what you consume daily becomes how you think. Then you learn how money actually works, not just saving, but multiplying, even if it's small because the habit matters more than the amount. Then you train discipline by choosing long-term rewards over short-term pleasure again and again until it becomes natural. And finally, you change your identity. You stop saying, I'm bad with money, and start saying, I'm learning how to build wealth. Because once your identity shifts, your actions follow, and your results change. At the end of the day, it's not your income, your luck, or your background that's keeping you poor. It's the loop you're stuck in. And the moment you see the loop, you get a choice. Stay in it or break it. Most people will watch this, feel motivated for a few minutes, and then go right back to their old habits. That's why nothing changes. But if you're different, if you actually want to escape this cycle, then don't just watch. Start, even if it's small, because one small change repeated daily can completely change your life. And if you want content that actually rewires how you think about money, behavior, and success, follow now, because the next video might be the one that finally breaks your loop.